The words hung in the air like poison. You adopt at your age? My mother's perfectly manicured nails drummed against her coffee cup, each tap feeling like a hammer against my resolve. Darling, you can barely keep a plant alive. I'm Lara, and at 38, I thought I was prepared for my family's reaction to my decision to adopt. I wasn't. Mom, I've thought this through, I said, straightening my spine against the familiar floral print couch where I'd spent countless childhood hours being told what I couldn't do. I have a stable job, savings, and my own house. I'm ready. My father cleared his throat from his leather recliner, not looking up from his newspaper. Your mother has a point, Lara. Children need structure, a complete family. Which means what exactly, Dad? A husband? I caught my sister Trinity smirking from the doorway, her designer purse dangling from her arm like a trophy. Well, it certainly helps, Trinity chimed in, settling onto the armrest of the couch. I mean, Larry and I waited until we were married before even thinking about kids. It's just normal. Normal. There it was again. That word they'd been beating me with since I was old enough to have opinions of my own. I've already started the process, I announced, watching their faces shift from dismissive to alarmed. I've been approved for the initial assessment. My mother's coffee cup clattered against its saucer. You did what? Without consulting us? I'm 38, Mom. I don't need to consult anyone about my life choices anymore. 38 and single, Trinity muttered, examining her nails. That's exactly why you should consult someone. My brother Bradley chose that moment to wander in from the kitchen, mouth full of Mom's famous chocolate chip cookies. What's all the drama about? Your sister's latest crisis, Mom said, waving her hand dismissively. She wants to adopt, alone. Bradley choked on his cookie, coughing out crumbs as he laughed. Seriously, sis? Remember when you dog sat for me? That poor thing was traumatized for weeks. That was 15 years ago and your dog was already neurotic, I snapped, feeling my cheeks burn. I'm not the same person I was then. No, you're older now, Trinity said, her voice dripping with false concern and more desperate. I stood up, my hands shaking as I grabbed my purse. I didn't come here for permission or approval. I came to inform you because you're my family. But clearly, that doesn't mean what I thought it did. Lara, sit down, Mom commanded, using her "this discussion isn't over" voice. We're just trying to help you avoid a terrible mistake. The only mistake I made was thinking you might be happy for me. I moved toward the door, but Trinity blocked my path. We're happy when you make sensible decisions, she said. Remember that disaster with the yoga studio you wanted to open? Or the time you quit your corporate job to become a writer? Bradley added, reaching for another cookie. I have a successful marketing agency now, I said through gritted teeth, which none of you bothered to notice because you were too busy focusing on my failures. Honey, my father finally looked up from his paper. We just want what's best for you. No, you want what's easiest for you to explain to your country club friends. The words shot out before I could stop them, but for once, I didn't regret them. My mother gasped. That's completely unfair. Is it? I pushed past Trinity, who stumbled back in surprise, because I remember when Bradley dropped out of college to find himself in Europe, you called it brave. When Trinity got pregnant before her wedding, it was meant to be. But everything I do is wrong, crazy, or desperate. The silence that followed was deafening. I reached for the door handle, then turned back one last time. I'm going to be a mother. I'm going to give a child a home filled with love and acceptance. Everything I never got here. And when that happens, don't expect to be part of it. You'll regret this, my mother called after me as I stepped onto the porch. You'll see we're right. I walked to my car, my heels clicking against the concrete with purpose. Through the window, I could see them huddled together, probably already dissecting my life choices. But for the first time, their opinions felt meaningless. As I started the engine, my phone buzzed with a text from Meredith. How did it go? I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in years. Exactly as expected. Want to help me prepare for my home study? On my way with the wine and takeout, came the immediate reply. I pulled out of the driveway, catching one last glimpse of my family through the living room window. They had no idea that their doubt wasn't going to break me this time. It was going to fuel me. And what's your support system like, Lara? Miss Peterson from the adoption agency adjusted her glasses, pen hovering over her notepad. I took a deep breath, remembering Meredith's coaching from last night. I have a close friend who's been my rock through everything. She lives 10 minutes away and has already offered to be my emergency contact. And your family? The question I'd been dreading. They're not in the picture. Miss Peterson's pen stopped moving. Could you elaborate? They don't support my decision to adopt as a single mother. I forced myself to maintain eye contact, but I have a strong community outside of them. My neighbors, my colleagues, my client network, they're all incredibly supportive. She nodded, making another note. Your financial documentation is impressive. Running your own business must keep you busy. How do you plan to balance work and motherhood? I've already restructured my agency to allow for flexible hours, I explained, pulling out a detailed schedule from my folder. I can work from home 3 days a week, and I've hired 2 new account managers to handle client meetings. I've also researched several highly rated daycare centers near both my home and office. A hint of a smile crossed Miss Peterson's face. You've clearly put a lot of thought into this. My phone buzzed. Another message from Trinity. 3rd one this week. I silenced it without looking. I have, I said firmly. This isn't a whim or a midlife crisis, as some people have suggested. I've wanted to be a mother my entire life. After the meeting, I met Meredith at our favorite coffee shop. She was already at our usual corner table, 2 lattes waiting. Well, she demanded as soon as I sat down. How did it go? I think good. I wrapped my hands around the warm mug, but there's still so much ahead. Home study, background checks, more interviews. Which you'll ace, Meredith said confidently. Unlike that disaster of a family dinner last week. I grimaced. Mom's called 6 times since then. Trinity keeps texting about just wanting to talk. And even Bradley left a voicemail trying to convince me to think this through. Block them, Meredith suggested, stirring her coffee. At least until after the adoption process. You need positive energy right now. My phone buzzed again. This time it was an email from the adoption agency. My hand shook as I opened it. Oh my God, I whispered. What? What is it? Meredith leaned across the table. They want to schedule my home study next week. The reality of it hit me like a wave. This is really happening. Of course it's happening. Meredith squeezed my hand. Now, let's go shopping. That spare room needs to stop looking like a home office and start looking like a kid's paradise. We spent the afternoon at various stores, filling my cart with everything from child-proof locks to colorful bedding. At the paint store, I found myself staring at a wall of color samples. What about this one? Meredith held up a bright yellow swatch. Too intense, I said, then froze as a familiar voice carried across the store. Lara, is that you? Trinity stood at the end of the aisle, designer shopping bag in hand. Her eyes darted from me to the paint samples to the shopping cart full of child safety equipment. So you're really going through with this? She asked, her voice carrying that familiar note of judgment. Yes, Trinity, I am. I turned back to the paint swatches. Mom's really upset, you know. She cried at breakfast yesterday. Funny how my happiness makes her cry, but my pain never seemed to bother her. Trinity shifted uncomfortably. We just don't want you to get hurt. The adoption process is brutal. What if you don't get approved? What if the child has problems? What if I succeed? I cut her off. What if I prove all of you wrong? Is that what really scares you? That's not fair. Neither is trying to sabotage my dream because it doesn't fit your narrow view of family. Meredith stepped between us, holding up 2 paint samples. I think the sage green would be perfect, Lara. Calming, gender neutral, great for any age. Trinity opened her mouth to say more, but I turned away, focusing on the colors. After a moment, I heard her heels clicking away. Thanks, I murmured to Meredith. Anytime. Now, about this sage green. That evening, as I sat in the empty spare room surrounded by shopping bags and paint samples, my phone lit up with a new email. My heart stopped when I saw the sender, the adoption agency. With trembling fingers, I opened it, reading the first line over and over. We're pleased to inform you that we have a potential match we'd like to discuss. I pressed the phone to my chest, tears streaming down my face. Somewhere out there was a child who might become mine, who might fill this room with laughter and life. And no amount of family drama could take away the joy of that possibility. Her name is Mia, Miss Peterson said, sliding a photograph across her desk. She's 6 years old. My hands trembled as I picked up the photo. A small girl with curly brown hair and bright eyes smiled back at me, missing her front tooth. Something in my chest tightened. She's been in foster care for 2 years, Miss Peterson continued. Her birth parents' rights were terminated last year. She's bright, creative, and according to her current foster mother, loves art and storytelling. She's beautiful, I whispered, unable to take my eyes off the photo. There are some challenges. Ms. Peterson's tone grew serious. Mia has trouble trusting adults due to her past experiences. She'll need patience, consistency, and possibly therapy. I understand. I finally looked up. When can I meet her? The next week flew by in a blur of preparation. Meredith helped me finish painting the bedroom, and we spent hours arranging furniture and hanging artwork. I was putting the final touches on a reading nook when my doorbell rang. Coming, I called, wiping paint from my hands. I opened the door to find Trinity standing there, looking uncomfortable. Before you close the door, she said quickly, I just wanted to tell you something important. I crossed my arms, waiting. Mom's been talking to her friends at the country club, Trinity said. She mentioned your situation. And Mrs. Harrison, you remember her, right? Her husband's on the board of several children's charities. She said single-parent adoptions often end in disaster. And Mom's worried you might not be able to handle it. She's considering calling the adoption agency to express her concerns. The world tilted for a moment. She wouldn't dare. She's just trying to protect you. Get out! My voice was barely a whisper. Lara, please! Get out! I shoved the door closed, my hands shaking so badly I could barely turn the lock. I called Meredith immediately, my voice breaking as I explained what happened. That witch! Meredith hissed. Listen, I have an idea. Remember my friend from yoga? She runs a support group for adoptive parents. Come with me tonight. The support group met in a cozy community center. 8 people sat in a circle, sharing stories and advice. A woman named Sarah was speaking when we arrived. My parents didn't support my decision either, she was saying, but now, 3 years later, they can't imagine life without their granddaughter. That's assuming they ever meet my child, I said, surprising myself by speaking up. My mother's threatening to sabotage my adoption. The group's facilitator, Rachel, leaned forward. Unfortunately, that's not uncommon, but agencies are used to dealing with unsupportive family members. They care about the potential parent's capabilities, not external opinions. Focus on what you can control, another member added. Document everything. Keep records of any threats or interference. The agency will want to know you can protect your child from toxic influences. I left the meeting feeling stronger, clutching a list of resources and phone numbers. That night, I wrote a formal letter to the adoption agency, documenting my family's behavior and my plans to maintain boundaries. The next morning, I met with Ms. Peterson again. We received your letter, she said. I appreciate your honesty about the situation. It actually demonstrates good judgment, recognizing toxic relationships and being willing to protect a child from them. Relief flooded through me. So this won't affect my chances? On the contrary. Now, about Mia. Would you like to schedule your first meeting? 3 days later, I sat in a bright playroom, my heart pounding as footsteps approached the door. It opened, and there she was, smaller in person than I'd imagined, holding tight to her social worker's hand. "Hi, Mia," I said softly. "I'm Lara. Would you like to draw with me? I brought some special markers." She studied me carefully before nodding, slowly making her way to the table where I'd set up art supplies. "I like purple," she whispered, reaching for a marker. "Me too," I smiled. "Should we draw flowers?" For the next hour, we drew together, her confidence growing with each picture. She told me about her favorite books, her stuffed elephant named Trunk, and how she wanted to learn to ride a bike. "Time to go, Mia," her social worker said eventually. Mia looked at me, then at her drawing. After a moment's hesitation, she pushed it across the table to me. "It's you and me," she explained, pointing to 2 stick figures holding hands under a purple sun. "Can I see you again?" I blinked back tears. "I'd love that, sweetheart." That evening, I sat in Mia's future bedroom, holding her drawing and ignoring another call from my mother. The room was ready. I was ready. And somewhere in this city, a little girl with a missing front tooth had drawn us together under a purple sun. My phone buzzed with a text from Miss Peterson. Mia asked when she can see you again. "How's Thursday?" I smiled, typing back an immediate yes. No amount of family interference could dim the joy of this moment. Their threats had only made me more determined to create the loving, accepting home that Mia and I deserved. "And this is where you'd sleep," I said, leading Mia into her potential bedroom. It was our 4th visit, and the first time she'd been allowed to see my house. Her eyes widened at the sage green walls and the reading nook filled with stuffed animals. "Is that a unicorn?" She pointed to the sparkly plush toy sitting in the window seat. "It is. Would you like to meet her?" Mia nodded eagerly, running over to grab the unicorn. Her social worker, Miss Peterson, smiled from the doorway. "This is going very well," she whispered as Mia explored the room. "But there's something we need to discuss later." My stomach tightened, but I kept my smile in place as Mia showed me how the unicorn could fly. After Mia left with her social worker, Miss Peterson stayed behind. "We received a concerning phone call," she began, settling onto my couch. "A woman identifying herself as your mother expressed some strong opinions about your ability to parent." My hands clenched into fists. What did she say? "Nothing that changes our opinion of you," Miss Peterson assured me. "But she mentioned something about your sister having additional information. Trinity, is it? Let me guess. Trinity's been talking to her country club friends again? She suggested you have a history of unstable behavior and poor decision-making." I laughed bitterly. "You mean like starting my own successful business? Or buying a house at 35? Or spending 2 years preparing for adoption?" "Lara," Miss Peterson leaned forward, "we trust our evaluation process, but I need to know, is there anything else your family might try?" Before I could answer, my phone rang. Bradley's number flashed on the screen. "Speaking of family," I muttered, declining the call. "My brother's probably been recruited for their campaign now, too. Maybe you should talk to him," Miss Peterson suggested. "Clear the air." After she left, I stared at my phone for a long time before calling Bradley back. "Finally," he answered. "Look, we need to talk about Mom and Trinity. If you're calling to defend them, actually, I'm calling to warn you. They're planning something stupid. Trinity's been collecting evidence of your supposedly unstable lifestyle. Old social media posts, that time you quit your job, some dating history stuff." My blood ran cold. "What kind of dating history? Remember that guy you dated who turned out to be married? They're trying to spin it like you knew about his wife. That's ridiculous. I was the one who reported him." "I know that," Bradley sighed. Look, I've been a jerk about this whole adoption thing, but what they're doing, it's not right. Trinity's jealous, Mom's controlling, and they're both terrified of looking bad at their precious country club. I sank onto the couch, my mind racing. Why are you telling me this? Because you're my sister, and because I saw Mia's picture on Mom's desk. She's a cute kid. She deserves better than to be a pawn in Mom's social games. Tears pricked at my eyes. Thanks, Bradley. Don't thank me yet. Just be prepared, okay? After hanging up, I called Meredith and the support group facilitator, Rachel. Within an hour, they were both at my house, helping me compile documentation of my family's interference. We need to get ahead of this, Rachel said, reviewing my files. Letters from clients proving your business success, character references, bank statements showing financial stability, and screenshots of their threats, Meredith added, pulling up Trinity's messages. Look at this one. Mom knows people who can make sure you never get approved. That's basically admission of attempted sabotage. My phone buzzed with a text from Ms. Peterson. Mia asked if she can bring Trunk to meet your unicorn next time. Looking at that message, then at the pile of evidence we were building, I felt something shift inside me. This wasn't just about proving my family wrong anymore. This was about Mia, about protecting her from the same toxic dynamics I'd grown up with. I need to make a call, I said suddenly, stepping into the kitchen. The phone rang twice before Miss Peterson answered. I need to tell you everything, I said, about my family, about growing up with their manipulation, about why I'm so determined to give Mia a different kind of life. And then I need to know. Can you help me make sure they can't interfere? Come to my office first thing tomorrow, she replied. Bring everything you have. We'll handle this together. That night, I sat in Mia's future room, holding the unicorn she played with. On my phone was a new message from Trinity. Mom's just trying to protect everyone. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I blocked her number, then my mother's, then every flying monkey they might send my way. Looking around the room at the love and hope built into every detail, I knew I was done letting them write my story. Tomorrow, I would fight for Mia. And this time, I wouldn't be fighting alone. Congratulations, Lara, Ms. Peterson beamed, handing me the final approval papers. You're officially Mia's mother. My hands trembled as I signed the documents. 2 months of intense scrutiny, background checks, and fighting off my family's interference had led to this moment. Mia sat beside me, swinging her legs and clutching Trunk, her beloved stuffed elephant. Can I call you Mommy now? She whispered. I pulled her close, breathing in the scent of her strawberry shampoo. You can call me whatever makes you comfortable, sweetheart. I want to call you Mommy, she said firmly, wrapping her small arms around my neck. Meredith was waiting outside with balloons and a welcome home banner. Mia's eyes lit up at the sight. Are those all for me? You bet they are, kiddo. Meredith handed her a purple balloon. And wait until you see what's at home. We drove back to find our neighbors had decorated the front yard with streamers and signs. Mia bounced in her car seat, pointing at everything. Look, Mommy, they made it pretty for us. Us. The word made my heart soar. Inside, Mia ran straight to her room, where Meredith had set up a small welcome party with cupcakes and presents. As she explored her new treasures, my phone buzzed with a text from Bradley. Mom found out about the finalization. She's on the warpath. Heads up. I showed the message to Meredith, who immediately went into protective mode. I'll call Rachel from the support group, she said. We need to plan that adoption party before they try anything else. Party? Mia perked up, frosting on her nose. An even bigger party, I explained, to celebrate you becoming my daughter. Would you like that? Can I invite my friends from school? Of course. And we can have games and cake and... The doorbell rang, cutting me off. Through the frosted glass, I recognized my mother's silhouette. Meredith, can you... On it, she said, taking Mia's hand. Hey, sweetie, want to see the special surprise in the backyard? Once they were out of earshot, I opened the door just enough to block the entrance. What do you want, Mom? Is that any way to greet your mother? She tried to peer past me. I heard the adoption was finalized without even telling your family. You lost the right to be involved when you tried to sabotage it. We were trying to protect you, and now you've gone and made this rash decision. Mommy? Mia's voice came from behind me. Can we have pizza for dinner? My mother's eyes widened at the sight of Mia, who had somehow slipped back inside. Oh, she breathed. She's beautiful. Yes, she is, I said coldly. And she's my daughter. My family. The family I chose, who chose me back. But we're your family too. You can't just... Mommy? Mia tugged at my sleeve, her voice small. Is she making you sad? I knelt down to her level. No, sweetheart. She can't make me sad anymore. Why don't you go help Aunt Meredith set up for pizza? After Mia skipped away, I turned back to my mother. You need to leave. Lara, please. The country club is having their annual family day next week. Everyone's asking about you, about the adoption. How will it look if what? If your single daughter successfully adopted a child despite your best efforts to stop her? If she's happy without your approval? If she throws an adoption party and doesn't invite her biological family? My mother's face paled. A party? But we should be there. We're her grandparents. No, I said firmly. You're strangers who tried to prevent her from having a mother. Now leave, before I call the police. I closed the door on her protests, my hands shaking, but my resolve stronger than ever. You okay? Meredith appeared beside me holding her phone. I've got Rachel on the line. She says we can have the party at the community center next Saturday. They've got a great space for kids. From the kitchen, I could hear Mia giggling as she looked through pizza toppings. Book it, I said, and make it big. I want bouncy castles, face painting, everything. Let's show everyone what real family looks like. Already on it, Meredith grinned. Rachel's bringing the whole support group. Your clients want to come too. They've been following this journey for months. Mommy, Mia called. Can we have pineapple on the pizza? Coming, sweetie, I called back, feeling lighter than I had in years. And yes, we can have any toppings you want. As I walked toward my daughter's voice, I deleted the angry voicemails already piling up on my phone. Let them rage. Let them scheme. They couldn't touch us anymore. We had a party to plan. Please, Lara, just hear me out. Trinity's voice crackled through my phone speaker. Mom's a mess. She can't sleep. She's crying all the time. We just want to be part of Mia's life. I continued hanging streamers across the community center's ceiling, keeping the phone pressed between my ear and shoulder. Like you wanted to be part of my life when you were collecting evidence against me? That was a mistake. We were wrong. Wrong about what exactly? About me being unstable? About single mothers being unfit? About adoption being a desperate last resort? All of it, Trinity's voice cracked. I saw the party invitation on Rachel's social media. Everyone's talking about it. The whole country club knows we're not invited. Ah, there it is. I stepped down from the ladder. This isn't about Mia at all. It's about your reputation. No, I mean, look, can't we just start over? Mom will apologize. She'll do it publicly at the party if you want. Meredith walked in carrying boxes of party favors, raising an eyebrow at my expression. Trinity's begging, I mouthed, rolling my eyes. The party's tomorrow, I said into the phone. And you're right, everyone will be there. My clients, my friends, my support group, Mia's teachers, her friends from school, everyone who supported us when you were trying to tear us down. We're family. No, you're people who share my DNA. There's a difference. I watched Mia through the window as she played on the playground with her friends during the rehearsal. My real family is out there, helping my daughter test the bouncy castle to make sure it's perfect for tomorrow. I hung up before Trinity could respond, just as Mia came running in. Mommy, Jake says his mom is making 3 different kinds of cupcakes for tomorrow. Is she now? I scooped her up, marveling at how natural it felt after just 2 weeks. Well, what's your favorite kind? Chocolate. No, vanilla. No, wait. The door opened and Bradley walked in looking uncomfortable. Uncle Bradley, Mia squealed, wriggling free from my arms. I froze. She'd met him briefly last week when he'd stopped by to drop off a housewarming gift. A peace offering, he'd called it. Hey, Squirt, he said, ruffling her hair. Those are some cool sneakers. They light up, want to see? Maybe later, kiddo. I need to talk to your mom first. Meredith appeared as if summoned. Hey, Mia, want to help me sort the goodie bags? Once Mia was occupied, Bradley turned to me. They're planning to show up tomorrow. Mom, Dad, Trinity, the whole circus. They wouldn't dare. They would. Mom's convinced herself she's the victim here. She's been telling everyone you're keeping her grandchild from her, painting herself as this heartbroken grandmother. Of course she has. I rubbed my temples. What about you? Are you their spy now? No, he said firmly. I'm here because I was wrong too. Seeing you with Mia, seeing how happy she is, I get it now. And what they're planning to do tomorrow isn't right. What exactly are they planning? Mom's got this whole speech prepared about forgiveness and family unity. She's going to make a scene, try to force you to either accept her apology in public or look like the bad guy for refusing. I looked over at Mia, happily sorting candy with Meredith. She has no idea what she'd be walking into. Everyone here knows what they did. The support group, my clients, they all witnessed their attempts to sabotage the adoption. I tried to tell her that, but you know, Mom. Once she has an idea, then I'll handle it, I said, pulling out my phone. Rachel, remember that security team you mentioned? Book them and call the police non-emergency line. Let them know we might need support tomorrow. Bradley whistled low. You're really not messing around. No, I'm not. This is Mia's day. I won't let them ruin it. Need another set of eyes tomorrow? I could help watch the doors. I studied my brother's face, seeing genuine regret there. You'd stand against Mom? I'd stand with my sister and my niece. He pulled out his phone, showing me texts from our mother. Look, I've been documenting their plans. If they try anything, you'll have proof it was premeditated. Mia's laughter echoed across the room as she discovered light-up bouncy balls in the goodie bags. Okay, I said finally, but one wrong move. I know, he smiled sadly. I've got a lot to make up for. Let me start tomorrow. As Bradley left, Mia ran back to me, face glowing with excitement about tomorrow's party. I hugged her close, breathing in her familiar scent. Let them come, I thought. Let them try to ruin this. They had no idea how fiercely I would protect our happiness now. The community center buzzed with laughter and music. Mia twirled in her purple party dress, face painted like a butterfly, showing off her light-up sneakers to her friends. The bouncy castle bobbed with jumping children, while parents chatted around decorated tables. They're here, Bradley's voice crackled through the walkie-talkie. Mom, Dad, Trinity, and about 6 of their country club friends. I pressed the talk button. Security's been notified? Already on it. They won't get past the front desk without an invitation. I watched Mia playing pin the tail on the unicorn with her friends, completely oblivious to the drama unfolding outside. Rachel appeared beside me, touching my arm. Your mother's demanding to speak to the manager, she said. Want me to handle it? Before I could answer, Meredith rushed over. They're causing a scene in the lobby. Your mother's crying about being denied access to her granddaughter. I've got this, I said, straightening my shoulders. Keep Mia occupied. In the lobby, my mother stood in her designer suit, mascara running down her cheeks as she waved papers in the security guard's face. These are my rights as a grandmother, she was saying. I have lawyers. Mom. My voice cut through her theatrics. Stop embarrassing yourself. She whirled around, Trinity and several well-dressed women flanking her. Lara, how dare you hire security to keep us out? We're family. No, I said calmly, loud enough for her audience to hear. Family doesn't try to sabotage an adoption. Family doesn't collect false evidence to prove someone unfit. Family doesn't threaten to call child services over a single mother providing a loving home. One of her country club friends gasped, "That's not... We were trying to protect you." Trinity stepped forward. "By lying to the adoption agency?" Bradley emerged from his post by the door. "By spreading rumors about Lara's mental health?" "Bradley," Mom hissed, "you're supposed to be on our side." "I'm on the side of truth," he said. "And the truth is, you're here to save face, not to support Lara and Mia." "We have a right to be here." Trinity's voice rose. "Actually, you don't." Rachel appeared with a police officer. "This is a private event on private property. You weren't invited." "Officer," my mother turned on the waterworks. "My granddaughter isn't legally your granddaughter," I interrupted. "You made sure of that when you tried to prevent the adoption. I have documentation of every threat, every attempt at interference. Would you like to see it?" The officer stepped forward. "Ma'am, you need to leave willingly, or we'll have to escort you out." "This isn't over," Mom said, grabbing her designer purse. "You'll regret shutting us out." "No, Mom. The only thing I regret is letting you make me doubt myself for so long." As security led them out, one of the country club women lingered. "Lara," she said softly, "I had no idea. They told us such different stories." "Of course they did." I smiled sadly. "Feel free to stay for the party. See the truth for yourself." Inside, Mia ran up to me, covered in cake frosting. "Mommy, look what Jake's mom made." I knelt down, wiping frosting from her chin. "Is it good?" "The best. Can we open presents soon?" "In a few minutes, sweetheart." The party continued, filled with genuine joy and celebration. Mia opened presents surrounded by friends who cheered each gift. My clients shared stories of watching my journey to motherhood, and the support group members spoke about their own paths to creating families. During the cake cutting, Bradley pulled me aside. "They're gone," he said, "but Mom's already posting on social media about being cruelly excluded from her granddaughter's life." "Let her," I shrugged. "Everyone who matters knows the truth." "Mommy," Mia called, "come make a wish with me." I joined her at the cake, where she insisted on holding the knife together. "What should we wish for?" she asked. "We've already got everything we need, don't we?" She looked around at the party, at the faces of people who had supported us, believed in us, loved us. "Yeah," she grinned, "we do." Later, as the party wound down, Mia fell asleep in my arms, still clutching her new stuffed unicorn. Meredith helped clean up while Bradley gathered the presents. "You know," he said, watching me with Mia, "this is what family really looks like." I looked at my sleeping daughter, at my friends who had become family, at my brother, who had chosen truth over loyalty. "Yes," I said softly, kissing Mia's forehead. "This is exactly what family looks like." Outside, I could hear my mother's car finally pulling away from the parking lot. But for the first time, her departure didn't leave an ache. Instead, I felt only peace, holding my daughter in a room full of love that no amount of social status or manipulation could touch. And then the princess realized she didn't need the mean queen's approval anymore. I read from the storybook Mia and I had created together, because she had built her own kingdom filled with love. "Just like us!" Mia snuggled closer in her reading nook, clutching Trunk and her party unicorn. "Just like us," I agreed, closing the book. The doorbell rang, followed by Meredith's signature knock. "Special delivery!" Mia raced to the door, throwing it open to reveal Meredith holding a large envelope. "Is it from the court?" I asked, my heart racing. Meredith nodded, handing me the envelope. The restraining order decision came through. My hands trembled as I opened it. After the adoption party, my mother had escalated her campaign, showing up at Mia's school and trying to introduce herself as Grandma. The final straw was when she attempted to contact Mia's former foster family for dirt on our situation. Well, Meredith pressed. I scanned the document, relief flooding through me. Granted, full protection order for both of us. What's that mean, Mommy? I sat on the couch, pulling Mia onto my lap. It means the mean queen from our story has to stay far away from our kingdom. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Bradley, carrying a box. Found these while cleaning out Dad's garage, he said, setting it down. Thought you might want them. Inside were photo albums and childhood mementos. My art projects, school awards, writing contests I'd won. Things I thought had been thrown away years ago. Dad kept them, Bradley explained, in his private filing cabinet. Mom never knew. Look, Mommy, baby you. Mia pointed at a photo of me at her age. Dad asked me to give you this, too. Bradley handed me an envelope. Inside was a letter and a check for a substantial amount. Dear Lara, I read aloud, I was wrong. I let your mother's fears control our family for too long. This money was meant for your wedding, but I think starting your family deserves it more. I'm proud of you. Love, Dad. He wanted to come today, Bradley said, but Mom's watching him like a hawk since the restraining order. Is Grandpa mean too? Mia asked, looking worried. No, sweetie. I hugged her close. He's just a little lost right now, but maybe someday. The doorbell chimed once more. This time it was Rachel with several members of the support group, carrying supplies for our weekly meeting. Hope you don't mind, Rachel grinned. Everyone wanted to see your new kingdom. Soon the house was filled with chatter and laughter. Children played in Mia's room, while parents shared stories and advice in the living room. Sarah, from my first support group meeting, was showing pictures of her daughter's recent dance recital. My parents finally came around, she told me. It took 2 years, but seeing how happy we were, they couldn't deny it anymore. I don't know if mine ever will, I admitted, but I'm okay with that now. Mommy, Mia called from her room, can we show everyone our special book? The group gathered around as Mia proudly displayed our homemade story. Each page showed our journey, from the day we met, to the adoption party, to building our new life together. And this is my favorite part. Mia pointed to the last page where we'd drawn our kingdom, our house surrounded by friends, Bradley, Meredith, and all the people who'd supported us. Mine too, I said, watching her beam with pride. Later that evening, after everyone had gone home and Mia was getting ready for bed, my phone buzzed with a text from Trinity. Mom's telling everyone you've turned Mia against us. Says you're poisoning her mind with lies. I'm sorry I ever helped her hurt you. I deleted the message without responding. From Mia's room came the sound of her singing the goodnight song we'd created together. Ready for stories, Mommy? I walked into her room, now decorated with photos from the adoption party and artwork she'd created. On her bulletin board hung the purple sun drawing from our first meeting. Can we read our book again? She asked, patting the space beside her on the bed. Of course. I settled in next to her, feeling the rightness of this moment. Once upon a time, there was a princess who didn't need a prince. Or a mean queen, Mia added. Or a mean queen, I agreed, because she discovered that real magic comes from building your own kingdom. With love, Mia finished, throwing her arms around my neck. I love you, Mommy. I love you too, sweetheart. Outside, the world could say what it wanted. In here, in our kingdom built on choice and love, rather than obligation and judgment, we had everything we needed. The greatest revenge wasn't in proving them wrong. It was in being happy anyway. Again? Mia asked hopefully, holding up our book. Again, I smiled, turning back to the first page. Once upon a time,